We are tonight's entertainment.
You can't handle the truth.
The fire rises.
Pizza time.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So it begins.
You know how much I sacrifice?
You think that's air you're breathing?
Groovy.
I don't have friends. I got family.
We are sex people! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Craft Services.
Hello there, listeners. We have a film podcast. We are unfortunately in for another Trentless intro-outro. He was supposed to record an intro for this after working on a shoot, but that shoot kidnapped him. He was supposed to come home around 9:30. We'd record, we'd say 9:30, but let's be real. We'd probably record like 10:30, and then get a quick intro, quick outro, bing, bang, boom. But Trent texted me letting me know that he was kidnapped and forced to stay in a hotel in New Jersey, and he had not packed at all for it. So you're just stuck here with me, who, as for our intro, we always say what we've been eating, but I haven't eaten anything. I drank some chai, as per usual, but today is no ordinary day. Today, listeners, is Valentine's Day. At least for me. For you, it's the day after or even further. Though maybe you're listening next year and it is Valentine's Day. I don't know. But regardless, what I had to eat most recently is not maybe as interesting as what I will have to eat quite soon, which is right now, Sophia Alexis, friend of the show, and I, celebrating Valentine's Day as very good friends. As we do, we are going to a coffee shop to drink some beverages and eat maybe a sandwich or two. But other than that, nothing else to talk about because there's no Trentaroo over here. So why don't we just cue the intro? Welcome back to Craft Services, where we talk about the movies. Each week we talk about a film and hopefully have a crew member of that film to talk with us about their experience working on the picture. This week, we have our second upload of the second part of our interview with Autumn Durald Arkapaw, cinematographer of Sinners. This was a very cool interview. As we did last week, we're reissuing our Sinners interview because, guys, Autumn Durald Arkapaw is not just Autumn Durald Arkapaw. She's Oscar-nominated cinematographer, Autumn Durald Arkapaw. And whether she wins or not, it's not going to change. She will always be Oscar-nominated Autumn Durald Arkapaw, though we here at Craft Services are rooting for her. But yeah, she gets into more Sinners talk. She gets into a little bit of what she's going to be working on, and she, as per usual, gives the last great movie she watched. And if you didn't listen to the interview the first time around, you should definitely check it out right now, because Sinners is my favorite movie of 2025. It's a movie that means very, very much to me. Love Ryan Coogler, love Michael B. Jordan, love the score, and most importantly, loved the look. And thank God we had someone on that could talk about the look. So why don't we cue the interview? I think we are reaching now a point where we can get into some spoilers. And, Trent and I were talking about how there's the shot in the movie, which I'm sure you will be asked about a lot, but we'd be stupid not to ask you about it. Can you talk about I don't know how many minutes long it is, but the oneer in the juke joint? Can you talk about and walk us through the development of that, the actual shooting of it, and, putting it all together? Because I was almost in tears watching that.
Yeah, no, you're not the only one. Yeah, it's been really nice to hear the response to that scene, because I think it's a scene that is so imaginative, right? And it comes like direct. It's like one of those soulful shots that like will stick with you, right? So it's like you might not even be able to explain what you saw. Some people have their own opinions, but like it's executed in such a way that you feel it. And the way it was written, because it was a scene that was written in his script, is beautifully written, and you don't exactly know what it's going to look like until you start having that dialogue with Ryan, right? And really get his take on what he's after. But I was just excited the moment I read it, because it just opened up my imagination. musically, historically, and ancestral, like all of these different kind of elements coming together in this really interesting way that you're able to escape the film for a moment, right? And kind of dream. It's a big dreamy shot. So in prep, that's the first conversation is like, what does it mean to you? What do you envision for this? When the roof, when it opens up, what does that even look like to you? And so that's the first step at kind of executing a shot like that, is to really figure out what his vision is, and to help carry that out. And so that was our first kind of base talk about it. And then it becomes like getting all the departments together because, he really wanted it to be one fluid shot. That was important to try and figure out how to make it feel fluid. And then also, him working with Ludwig and Raphael Sadiq, that's its own element because, they create this song and then Ryan sends it to us and we listen to it. And then, there's that big inspiration, right? And then it's figuring out the timing of things, how you want to move around the camera. So then we work with VFX to put together a previs. And I was giving Rala, my notes on flow, right? Because I think for me, it's super important as far as like honing in on my craft and making sure that I do justice not only to the beautiful music, but just to what it means to Ryan, the shot itself. So making sure camera flows in the right way so it doesn't feel stuck or clunky. So that we looked at a previs, we put together that, and that goes through various iterations. And then when it gets to a good point, you do rehearsal. And we shot it with the IMAX camera on Steadicam. And so I think it's like 75 seconds you get for that shot, because you have to spool down the 1,000-foot load, because it's very heavy, in order to put it on a Steadicam rig. And Bernard Sharon, our amazing Steadicam operator, was someone who I worked with in commercials and then was introduced to through my husband who worked with him. And when I couldn't find someone that had done it before, Adam, my husband, was like, Bernard's your guy. Like, he's the best. He'll make it happen. And so he did some, not for this scene, but he did some prep where he put it on his rig, and I saw that he felt comfortable, and I was like, okay, so he got the job. And then when you have someone in a position that is so good at what they do, and our focus pullers are so amazing, and my A camera first, Ethan McDonald, like, you can dream as big as you want. You can put the IMAX camera on a Steadicam for the full roll. You can move it around elegantly. You can do fight sequences with it. So it was fun to know that we could execute this with a Steadicam and that the shot would be smooth and work out. And so we did a rehearsal. And then Ludwig's team is there and making sure that, the music timing with the camera, and that the moments that Ryan wants to see, the different historical representations of different things or music, is at the right timing, right? It's seeing the right things. Because as you can see, there's so much timing with the choreographers there helping us figure the timing out, and he's bringing in all these amazing artists and dancers and musicians from all over to be a part of it. So it's a very communal experience. But yeah, it takes a lot of planning and trial and error because there's some handoffs and, you want to make sure they're seamless. So it's 3 shots. It's 3 Steadicam shots in the mill that was shot on a stage. And then it goes up to a roof, which is a takeover from VFX. We shot a burning roof plate on our last day of photography with our amazing SFX team. And so they used that plate, of the burning roof. And then it tips back down into the night exterior, which is done on a different location and was shot at night, obviously. And it pulls back on a 50-foot movie bird that was on track. And it booms down perfectly, framing these 3 characters on their back. And then, the way the music kicks in and soundtrack and all that, the score is just wonderful. So I think, again, you feel it, right? It's one of those shots that from conception is executed very well, but it's also got so much meaning and heart in it. So I think that's what people are also responding to as well.
In scenes where there's moments of heavy CGI use, say, just like, spoiler alert, like when the vampires, when the sun comes up and they sort of melt and stuff. When you're shooting that on the day, how much sort of uncertainty is in the back of your head of like, I know the plan, I know what we're supposed to do today, but I kind of only sort of know what this is going to look like? Or do you know exactly what it's going to be? Or if you could speak on that.
Yeah, no, it's my job. I take my job seriously, so I'm speaking for myself, but like, I'm very particular. So like when it comes to like, what is this going to look like? Like I make sure that I'm asking Rala all the questions that I need because he knows that I get upset very easily about that stuff if I find out later that it turns out poorly. So it really is like, you have a meeting, right? And it's like, what does this look like? What does Ryan want here? Like, is it a wide shot? How many people are coming into the frame? Where's the fire? Is it on their backs? What's it going to look like? Is it going to look real? Like, what do you need from me? He's asking me, do we put, like, you need some type of reference kind of light, even though if you're going to do a full CG replacement of somebody and then recreate fire on their back, it's always great, like I said before, to give someone a reference for that. So we had some Astera tubes that we put on people just so that when we're on our wide shot, you can actually see that texture of light, emanating from those positions of those people in the wide shot, right? And then, having flame bars on set to give that effect of them burning. It's not obviously, no one is in the audience, the one that you said, as far as the audience of vampires that are watching, we obviously had the guy, Remick, he was in a full burn suit, and then, we got that element, but for the people watching him, they were not. And it's about giving them reference, right? What does the light look like? So we do all of this stuff in prep. Like Michael Ralla's team is generating images to show us kind of like what that potentially will look like. Ryan goes through all of it and he picks like his favorite things, and we talk about it as far as like what time of day it is, what color is the light, what's important. So when you're on set, it's about getting all of those materials shot as reference material so that you have a very good idea of what it looks like. But again, it's also a taste thing, right? So I'm working with people that have very good taste, and, they know that how important it is for Ryan and I for something to look realistic. And because you don't want anyone to kind of like come out of the story, right? Like the imagination is big, so you want to try and keep them in there. So yeah, and also we're working on a format where, there aren't many movies that have these visual effects. Like on this format, there's a lot of VFX because of the twinning aspect, right? And some of the horror aspect, even though Fontaine, who's fabulous, who did all of the makeup, like it's so important that Ryan, had all of that in camera. And then, obviously there are some times where you have to do work to like transition you from, when he's burning and stuff like that. But it was, again, all important to do as much there and have those real textures. So as far as my job, it's, making sure you ask the right questions, see references, right? If someone's explaining something to you and you can't visualize it, it's like, show me like what potentially that this is going to become so that I know how to frame or what's most important. So I find that, it's really our team, because we're close and we know each other, that we really do make sure that we answer questions ahead of time. Like I don't want to guess, like, especially for me, like I'm such the protector of the image and making sure I carry out Ryan's vision, that like, I don't want to be guessing at all.
Given that, were there any scenes or shots that once you were on set did change drastically, like the visual approach, working with the actors, or where it was very different from what your plan was?
Yeah, Ryan loves to storyboard. So Louis, his storyboard artist, who I've known from Panther, who's awesome. And he was there on this shoot, like in the room, which is great, right? So you can sit down with him. And again, it's just so imaginative of a process where you have, again, someone, he's close with, that he knows, and that I've met before, coming up with great ideas. And so we boarded the movie, but what's great about our process is you can have the whole movie boarded, but once you're in the space and you see Michael's performance and you see Delroy's performance and Miles and Jamie and all these amazing actors kind of working off of each other, like you can easily, adjust for the moment after seeing the blocking. And I would say, having a great team, being able to move fast and being good, you can change things quickly without getting in the way of, the process. And so I think we always kind of had a plan or idea of what we wanted to do, because we had some boards and the shot selection that he was after. But we always do adjust on the day according to, what we're being thrown, because sometimes weather interrupts that process. Sometimes, the blocking needs to be adjusted because there are new ideas that make it better. All of these things kind of, when they are being thrown at you, it's your job to kind of make decisions quickly and know how to give someone what they want without, halting the process. So I feel like it was nice to go through all these things and plan out our day, because I think because we knew the format was really important. We were shooting on film and we wanted to run 2 cameras. And our AD Marvin and Ryan and I would sit down and we would go through the day's work, say, for instance, in Donaldsonville is where we shot the grocery store scene with Michael. There's a lot going on there. It was very important that Ryan have that oneer that took Lisa over to the white store and then brought back her mother to the other store. And so figuring out the logistics of executing that. And then look, we got lucky on the day with great weather. Like that's huge, right? You sometimes you don't get lucky. And so planning all of the great shots out on a list to make sure that you kind of get them, we always kind of do that. And then at the beginning of the day, we have like a menu Ryan puts together of the shots that we are after. And then we plan out our day and then adjust accordingly, depending on, what happens. Because there's always delays, how it is. Things happen and things can get drawn out or delayed. But yeah, I do feel like I like to work like that. I always like to see the space and I use a finder. That's my process. So I use director's viewfinder and put the lens on the finder and then find it and then show it to Ryan. And we have a discussion and then, we kind of go to war and we figure out how to cover the scene.
So I think the last scene we want to talk about is the last scene in the movie, which, without giving too much away, features a significant time jump and is sort of like an important PS on the movie, I believe, after the director title card. If you could just talk about like that taking shape or any conversations based around that sort of very important final scene.
Yeah, after credit scene. Obviously, when we shot that, it wasn't an after credit scene. It found its way there. That sequence was shot on our first day of filming with Buddy Guy. And it was, obviously a super important scene to everybody involved, to Ryan, to have Buddy there playing music in a space in New Orleans at a club. So it was a club in New Orleans that Hannah made into a set. And we shot there on our first day of shooting. And so it was funny because you're there shooting the scene, but then he's playing live music as well. And you're just like trying to focus, but you're also like, I'm sitting here filming him playing music. And it's resonating through your body. So yeah, I love that scene. There's so much color in that scene, the costumes, the set. I just love the exposure and how that scene turned out. It's very rich. And I think it's nice to kind of remind everybody. It's like such a kind of history saturated scene because you go forward in time, but then it cuts and has some of the flashback images, if you recall, that pop up in the different formats that remind you when he says that the last time I saw my brother was the last time I've seen the sun. I mean, that line itself is enough. And then he cuts to an image that we shot that when we did shoot that, it wasn't known that it was going to be there. Which is great, right? Because I always love, when you have Ryan and Michael working together in the edit, I don't watch the final until they're done, just because, there's obviously various iterations and stuff like that. And so it's always great to see how certain scenes turn out because not all the time do you know exactly how they're going to be cut or, if other things will be intercut in that scene. But yeah, that's shot on Ultra Panavision with our Ultra Panatars, but then also IMAX. And there were some more shots that we needed for that scene. So we did have to, later in principle, have Hannah rebuild that set and shoot some more. And Buddy came back and we shot a bit more. So I would say, yeah, you've got about 2 days of footage there that make up that scene. But yeah, it's very like having Michael, like having Stat come back and then Haley, it's such a great scene. I really like that the people that's, know that it's coming and stay in the theater. It's a nice kind of cherry on top of that.
So as we sort of start to wrap up, is there something you sort of learned on this movie, technically or thematically or whatever, that you will take with you into the future on other movies?
Yeah, I mean, I feel very, very fortunate, honestly. I always feel that way when I work with Ryan because I think for me, like my husband's a DP, we have a son. I feel like when I'm gone and I give, 6 months or a year to somebody to make a picture, it's a lot. It puts a lot of pressure on my family, my son. And so, if I'm out there, like, it better be good, And I think with Ryan, yeah, it's like, it's always with Ryan, he's similar, where family means so much to them, and he is so kind, and the way in which he makes films is from the heart. So I feel very comfortable when we work together that we're going to be doing something that's going to inspire many people and is important. So I take the work very seriously. And I think in this regard, with this picture, because it's so close to home for him and it comes all from his brain, it was so amazing to be out there, and like any questions you had, like there was a story as to why, it was that way. Like I was so aware of the fact that like he wrote every single line. He always writes, but just that the idea for the film comes from him and his experiences and things that are important to him. Yeah, there was such an importance to it. And then layer the large format on top of that, even more so. And then also layer Michael's performance on top of that, because we have not seen Michael like this before. It was like, especially think about the end of the movie and that one scene where he's holding the baby. Like I remember that day and I was just blown away. I was like, this is like, just being there in general was important. So the fact that you guys all love it is just a bonus, because you did feel like you were making something so important culturally when you were on set in Louisiana, where your ancestors were picking cotton. We had something to say, I think, as a team. So I will just hold the whole experience close to my heart. So I'll bring that, on any project. And I think that's just having a love for the game, really, and making sure that those opportunities that we get, because not a lot of people are in our position at this level to be doing work like this. So I feel very proud and grateful that he gave me that opportunity.
Parth, is it Big Kahuna time?
I think it's Big Kahuna time.
I don't know what that is. Should I have researched?
No, not to worry. We're about to hit you with the Big Kahuna final question. The Big Kahuna final question, don't be nervous, is what is the last great, not just good film that you watched as a viewer? And it can be a first-time viewing or a rewatch. Doesn't matter.
It was The Brutalist. Yeah.
The Brutalist was just on my mind a second ago, because I was going to say, we interviewed the DP of The Brutalist, and he ended up winning the Oscar, and I've got a good feeling about this interview, at least for a nom. So, best of luck.
Yeah. No, I saw it, and again, it was just like, I felt it, right? That's it. I felt it. I felt what they were trying to say. It felt different, and I couldn't stop watching it. So, yeah.
Well,
amazing.
Yeah, it's the universe is reflecting fondly upon you. We'll see you. We'll see you next year.
Yes.
Will that hopefully, knock on touch wood, would that be your first Academy Awards?
Yeah. I mean, as you know, it's not, my gender doesn't end up there often, unfortunately. So,
No.
In the past, there's been a few of us, but yeah, it's not. So yes, it would be a first on many levels for myself, but yeah.
We were speaking with your assistant earlier, and I was saying that it would be insane to me if you do not win the Oscar. So if nothing else, you win the Oscar in our hearts.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Trust me, I'm one of those people. Also, I want to let you guys know this is my first podcast, not ever. You reached out directly, and I got your email, and then I looked into what you guys do, and I was like, oh, they're really cool. Like, this is cool. So this is the first one I've done so far on the movie. So thank you.
That's an amazing place to close out, Trent.
Yeah, you saw our live reaction to learning that fact. And to that, I will say thank you so much to Autumn Durald Arkapaw. She's the DP behind such films as Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, The Last Showgirl, and our film for today, Ryan Coogler's Sinners. Go see it on as big a screen as possible as is available to you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
What an interview. Trent? Nah, I'm just kidding. He's still not here. Thank you so much to Autumn Durald Arkapaw. She recorded this interview last year, and we're really excited to re-release it this year in advance of the Oscars. I think she's got a good shot. She's the first woman of color to ever shoot on IMAX film, which is pretty cool. And it'd be really awesome if she could win this, because it's not just a breakthrough achievement. It's a really good movie And I think it'd really be cool if she could win. So Oscar voters, all 3 that are listening to this, go vote for her. Like, what are you doing? Just do it. Just do it. I think Adidas said that. And as always, thank you guys so much for listening. These episodes come out every Sunday on every podcasting platform known to man. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, etc. Think of it. It's got it. Thank you so much to our producer, Bash Loyo Velazquez. He's the GOAT. He's been handling our social media uploads, of which we've got Instagram and Twitter. We're looking into getting a TikTok. We know you guys like that short form content. So we're looking into doing whatever we can for you. But other than that, thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you next week.